What's up, everybody? Jimmy Faluca reporting with Frank. Frank, Happy New Year, dude.
Happy New Year.
All right.
Oh, by the way, Nick does supposed to debut on 2016. We'll get him on the next shot.
Yeah, we'll get John Cena's #1 fan on the next show. Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait to see how that's gonna go. That's gonna be interesting. I'm sure I'll get zinged a few times, but I don't care. I invite anybody on this show.
Oh yeah, well of course.
Anyways,
we got you on the next one.
we get you on the next one, Nick. Don't worry about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are. I think the 24th is the day of the Rumble, Frank.
Let's see.
Please, Frank is also the database for the Jimmy and Frank show.
Yeah, because I have Google in front of me. Yes, the 24th.
All right, so, and it's the 9th, so we're not that far away. And the big news coming out of this past week, because today is January 9th, is John Cena is injured and will be out for 6 to 9 months.
Well, that's what they say. They always hype up his injury status, and then he comes back.
Well, it's guaranteed he's missing WrestleMania because he had shoulder surgery.
I'll put him out in 4 months. He'll probably be out. He'll probably come back right after WrestleMania.
All right. Now, Frank and I wanted to discuss a topic that, we've discussed on the show ad nauseum many times. But this is a subject that I feel, too many people just they kick it under the rug. They act like it's not a big deal and all that, but it is. Okay. This is how it breaks down. For months, Frank and I have been on our show talking about the WWE not building new stars, not building any new top guys, not building anyone that could be on the level of a John Cena, the level of a Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker, so forth. Said it 1,000 times. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing it. Well, Frank and I are sick of saying it, and when guys like John Cena get hurt, what we've been saying is proven to be true. We've been saying these guys won't be around forever. John Cena's not going to be around forever. He's finally starting to wind down. Randy Orton, not going to be around forever. The Undertaker is probably going to be done after this year's WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar has, 2 years left on his contract, Frank?
Yeah, like 2.5.
2.5. You really think Triple H is going to be wrestling in 5 years? I doubt it. Chris Jericho is probably going to be done very soon. I don't think The Rock is going to want to wrestle many more matches. The point Frank and I have been trying to make is you have to make new top stars. And you have to make them be just as important as the gentleman I just named. Because if you don't, then what's the point of even having the show? Much as I like him, Roman Reigns cannot carry the WWE brand all by himself.
It's unfair to expect.
I'm sorry?
I said it would be unfair to put all the
Absolutely. 150%. It would be.
Been wrestling for 4 years.
Didn't they debut the Survivor Series 2012, right? So this year will be 4 years since Roman Reigns debuted, along with.
Maybe he had a year and a half experience before in NXT.
Probably.
It wasn't like he was in the Indies for 5 years wrestling every night. He just he was a football player who had his family is in wrestling, and he went to NXT.
The point we're trying to make is that neither one of us are taking shots at Roman Reigns because we both like him. We want to see him succeed. We want to see all these young guys succeed. But the point is, who have you really built to really take those spots after those guys are gone? Because, and unfortunately, Frank, you and I have the displeasure of having to deal with certain people that turn around and say, the new generation sucks, they're no good, they're nothing like the legends and all that. How could anybody with a brain expect any of these guys to be on the level of an Undertaker, a Brock Lesnar, a Triple H, a John Cena, a Randy Orton, if they aren't given the good booking? It is unrealistic. I'll use one of my favorite guys from the modern era, Bray Wyatt. How could any of you expect Bray Wyatt to create the kind of interest that The Undertaker garnered? Bray Wyatt hasn't even been given a third of the booking The Undertaker's been given. It's ridiculous the amount of clean losses he has sustained already. The Undertaker was protected during his, younger years when he was coming up. Has Bray Wyatt been protected? Absolutely not. They've thrown this fucking kid in the meat grinder.
No, every time he does get a little push, and him and the Wyatts seem scary, and like they're going to overtake the WWE, he loses that pay-per-view. Or somebody decimates the whole Wyatt family on Raw.
And who do we both know did both of those things, Frank?
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. The guy who's injured. The guy who you've been feeding everybody to all year with this dumbass United States Open Challenge, that all these people could have been potential opponents for him, and now none of them are formidable opponents because he's already beaten them. And I said this back at fucking Money in the Bank when he beat Kevin Owens, and I was fuming. I remember I was so pissed because I said to myself, and Larry said the same thing, now Kevin Owens is just like everybody else. And then at Battleground, they went even further and had Kevin Owens tap out. And I'm saying to myself, then you wonder why you don't have any new stars. Because you have the opportunity to take these young guys, make them something special, and you just go with the same old shit. And that's why this year, arguably, is one of the worst years they've ever had in terms of creative, in terms of their viewership. Frank, how low did the ratings drop this year?
The lowest was at 1.7.
That's inexcusable.
That goes back to 1996, before
this is going back to before they got their heads out of their asses and put on the best television possible. But I don't see that happening anytime soon because they don't give a shit. That's the feeling I get, that they just don't give a shit.
How did they put a Band-Aid on it? They had Vince McMahon come back out. Talk about another old stale act. How long is Vince McMahon going to be around to keep saving the
But it's not even that. Is Vince McMahon versus Roman Reigns a believable story? Of course it isn't.
No, it's interesting. It's just a recycled storyline.
It's a recycled storyline with the wrong guy.
Austin and McMahon.
It's no, not for Vince. Putting Vince in a storyline is not the problem. It's putting him in a storyline with Roman Reigns that to me doesn't make any sense, because why would anybody in their right mind believe that any authority figure in the WWE would be against Roman Reigns? If you apply common sense, he's their golden boy, and everybody knows it. They would have been better served to turn Roman Reigns heel, make him the WWE champion, and put Vince McMahon against somebody that the WWE audience is actually behind. Roman Reigns, to me, would be much better suited as the dominant bad guy that talks shit and backs it up. Anytime I bring up Seth Rollins and his bullshit title reign, how not a single match, to me, was of any substance whatsoever, and he's a damn good in-ring worker. Seth Rollins is arguably one of the best in-ring workers that WWE's had in a while. But I look at his title reign, and it was absolutely atrocious. It sucked. It absolutely sucked. He had one good match that I would go back and watch again and again and again, and that was
they took away his finisher.
No, it's not even the finish that pisses.
I'm saying they took away his finishing move, the curb stomp.
Yeah, they did take away his finishing move, and that was one of the dumb decisions they made with him. The other dumb decision they make was they had him rely on the authority and interference and all that. All right, let me give you an example of somebody that was a heel, was an asshole heel, backed it up. Randy Orton, when he was part of Evolution. I seem to recall him having a feud with Mick Foley. Did Mick Foley win a single match against young Randy Orton? No, he did not. Not only did Randy Orton pin Mick Foley at WrestleMania, he then defeated Mick Foley in his signature match. No holds barred. By himself. And because Randy Orton beat someone that was so beloved in Mick Foley, that made you want to see him get his ass kicked even more, and he was just the Intercontinental Champion.
Right, and that was a purposeful match. That was to get Randy Orton over.
And guess what? It was a damn good match. And it didn't need a ton of interference.
Mick Foley he made Triple H, remember back in 2000?
Oh, absolutely. That's another example. Why do you think Triple H... Let me ask you guys a question. Did you, no matter how much the WWE tried to shove Triple H in your face, did you ever at any point in time ever consider him on the same level of Austin Rock or The Undertaker? Of course you didn't.
He was always a B plus.
He was always what he accused Bryan to be, a B plus player. However, you took Triple H seriously because of the way he was portrayed. He beat The Rock clean. He beat Triple H clean. I mean, blah, what the fuck did I just say? He beat The Rock clean. He beat Mick Foley clean. He beat Stone Cold clean.
Right, I'm saying only after that match, Madison Square Garden, where it was a no holds barred,
that people started to really take Triple H seriously. And did he need any interference to win that match? No, all he needed was his guts.
And Edge, Mick Foley made Edge a top tier star.
Yes, he did. And did Edge have to cheat to beat Mick Foley? No, he kicked his ass. You know, that's something that immediately, like Durst has brought up several times. Why, you want Seth Rollins to be booked like Brock Lesnar? No. Brock Lesnar ragdolls guys and makes them look inadequate. That's not, to me, what makes a great heel. That only works with certain people. Like with Big Van Vader. Back in WCW, anyone that was a fan of the old WCW like I am, back in the old days of WCW, Vader made a lot of guys look inadequate because he would just beat the fuck out of them. You remember Vader, right?
Oh, yeah.
Vader's one of my all-time favorites. I love Vader. I think he's one of the greatest big men, if not the greatest big man to ever get in the ring and do some of the shit that he was doing.
In the mid-90s, Vader was probably the most badass heel.
Absolutely. And then he comes to the WWE and it just didn't work. Because Vince didn't know what the fuck to do with Vader. And Vader could have been their top heel. Easily could have been their top heel.
Vader should have been feuding with Undertaker for the whole time.
Well, he feuded with Taker in '97, in which Vader beat him at the Rumble, and then they fought at the Canadian Stampede in what I thought was a pretty damn good match. It was one of Taker's title defenses, because Taker was the champ in '97. One of my favorite times in his career, that he was actually given the strap and actually given a title run. Poor bastard barely got any of those.
But Undertaker was a cat that never needed the belt.
I understand that, but I always felt he was one that deserved it for his loyalty. The Undertaker, to me, anytime he was the champ, to me it should have been a reign of dominance. You know, I felt that we were robbed of that in 2007 when he won the title from Batista and then unfortunately got hurt. And in 2008 he beat Edge, and then they had that stupid bullshit going into Judgment Day, and then Taker lost in the TLC match, which I really didn't mind. I think it would have been better if Taker would have held the title from WrestleMania all the way to Extreme Rules, where Edge beat him and had to be, banished, whatever the fuck it was that they were doing. And that's another thing. Edge, in a one-on-one matches with Undertaker, made you believe he could beat him because Edge was that good as a villain.
Right. Would you believe that in 1999, Edge and Christian, when Edge was tagging with Christian, that he could
Absolutely not. Just like 1997, Triple H, I wouldn't believe he could handle Cactus Jack, knowing the shit that I saw Cactus doing in ECW and WCW. 2000 Triple H, different story. Because it was what Mick Foley did to get this guy over. And I don't see that, and now to put a lid on it, I don't see that happening today. Why did The Undertaker beat Bray Wyatt 2 times in a row? Why did John Cena beat fucking Kevin Owens? Why did he beat Dean Ambrose? I don't understand this nonsense. The WWE right now should be focused on these guys. Now, I'm going to read off a few names, Frank, and you tell me what you think when I'm done. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Ryback, and Daniel Bryan. That should be the 8 guys that you go to center your show around. And if any of those guys is on the injured list, like right now, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, and Bryan are, you still have 5 other guys that you could rely upon. Now imagine if all 8 of those guys were built substantially, Frank. How good a shape would they be in right now?
Yeah, imagine if Kevin Owens never lost clean to John Cena.
Oh, and he was still the U.S. champ at this point? Jesus Christ.
What's that?
And if he was still the U.S. champ at this point, going into the Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a showdown.
Think about this. Think about this. Okay, I'm try to see if I can put it to you another way. I don't believe Kevin Owens is, if he gets into that program with Brock Lesnar like I think he's going to, I don't believe Kevin Owens is going to win. Because based on the way, based on, I'm sorry?
He shouldn't.
What do you mean he shouldn't? Of course he should.
No, not now, but I think just having him go to...
Not at all, Frank. Not at all. How many times are we going to take these young guys, put them in the ring with these legends, and have the legends win? It does them no favors. I'm sorry, but Bray Wyatt being in the ring with The Undertaker did not make him a bigger star. Putting him in the ring with John Cena did not make him a bigger star. You know what did make Bray Wyatt a big star? When he beat Daniel Bryan, when he beat The Shield. And then after that, it was downhill from there. I'm sorry, but did Jake the Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, and Jimmy Superfly Snuka ever once cleanly beat The Undertaker? Of course they didn't, because they protected The Undertaker. Bray Wyatt's supposed to get that same treatment, and he hasn't been getting it. If Brock Lesnar gets in the ring with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar's supposed to do the job. I don't care how they do it. Make it a no disqualification match so that way Brock is protected in defeat. But Kevin Owens needs that victory. You need to give these victories to these guys that need it the most, because otherwise, what are you doing? You're not doing.
I understand what you're saying.
You're not doing these guys any favors.
He needs to keep being the monster that he is.
I understand that. Brock Lesnar could still be the monster that he is, and I've said this on the show many times. Brock Lesnar could still be a monster and get beat by someone like a Kevin Owens. There's nothing wrong with Kevin Owens beating Brock Lesnar. At least in my estimation, there isn't. Because to me, what makes a monster is not just his physical strength, it's what he's willing to do. Like, any of you have ever seen some of these movies with some of these villains, they're not big and muscular, but they're psychotic. That's what makes them a monster. Kevin Owens is willing to push those boundaries. And that's
Kevin Owens is a tough guy.
Kevin Owens, first of all, is very relatable. He's a damn good talker. He's a damn good worker. And you actually believe the shit that's coming out of his mouth. It doesn't feel like it's regurgitated shit from a stupid scriptwriter. Kevin Owens, if he's going to get in the ring with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, Brock is supposed to lose that match. I don't care how they do it. Whether Brock hits his head on the friggin' exposed turnbuckle and then walks into a power bomb. I don't care how they do it. Brock is not supposed to beat Kevin Owens, just like The Undertaker's not supposed to beat Bray Wyatt. You know, I'm sorry. You have to...
Would you be good with Roman Reigns beating Lesnar at WrestleMania?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
And I'll tell you why. Because Roman Reigns is already a made man. He don't need it. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Because Triple H is about to do the job for him.
All right.
And I'm dreading Triple H winning that Rumble because it's going to be another Rumble wasted where they could have made somebody else and they choose not to. To me, there are two guys I don't want to see win the Rumble, Lesnar and Triple H. I would take anybody else at this point. Even Reigns.
What about The Rock?
No. The Rock already had his time. How many times are we going to rely on these older guys and never get any return on the investment? You know, as much as people may love The Rock, is he really the solution? Yeah, you're going to have one night where the number is big, but what does that do for the rest of the year? Because whenever The Rock leaves, he takes his numbers with him.
Well, yeah, if he wins, The Rock would lose at WrestleMania.
To who?
Roman Reigns?
I'm looking at the guys like Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Seth Rollins, and Bryan, and those are the...
I'm saying you're looking at creating the new top guy.
I'm looking to and that's where you're wrong. I'm not looking to create a new top guy. I'm looking to create new top guys, plural. We need more than just one, and that's something that not enough people are accustomed to. They've been accustomed to this singular, just one guy at the top, and that's it. That's not how it's going to work long term. You need to have multiple guys on top in order for this shit to work. And we're going to get into that in the next segment, all right, Frank? We'll be right back.